Hello everyone, this is Laura. I'm back to do another video about crystals. I hope you caught my first one. It was a little introduction about working with crystals, and I introduced a little bit about my philosophy and approaches for choosing crystals to work with. So today I'm going to try to show you camera out here on my fire escape. I'm going for a trip. Oh heck. Yes, alright. You can see I am cleansing or recharging or refreshing some of my stones out here in the sun on my little New York City version of the patio. So, essentially, I actually wanted to kind of hone in and talk a little bit about one stone in particular today, and that would be Carnelian. So, excuse me 1 minute, I'm going to go get the bowl of Carnelians. Anyway. Okay, so this is the bowl of Carnelian stones. Carnelian is a member of the chalcedony family. They're really beautiful stones, and they come in this beautiful, like, fiery reddish orange, and a lot of times they have these kind of dark like inclusions in them. They are sometimes like semi-transparent. So I'm gonna use this as a platform to talk about a little bit more about the properties of crystals, how to make connections between their natural energy properties, and how that segues into our decision of how we use them in remedies, medicines, and treatments. So, for one thing, the first thing to note about these stones that I'm using as an example today is that these are tumbled stones, meaning that maybe the person who mined them, they weren't like a high enough grade, they weren't of a high enough clarity, or their formation wasn't particularly rare, or something like that. So rather than viewing them as like a gemstone quality, they were kind of just like taken as pieces, and they were tumbled. And so these stones are really nice, although they don't, we can't detect their natural texture and formation. They're really nice because they're very versatile. They're like a little nugget of vibration. So whereas the crystal, I don't have it over here, but the crystal that I introduced to you last time, that Damburite, that had a very strong personality. Like, that crystal, he's very like raw. He still carries the energy of whatever cluster he came from because he's in his completely natural formation. He's just been disconnected at that one point. So tumbled stones are nice. They, like I said, they're like a little, you can think of them as like a chunk of vibration. So, when you have a nice variety of tumbled stones, it's almost like, your kitchen pantry or like your spice rack. You have, 20 or 25 or 30 different spices and herbs that you can work with. These are kind of the same way, that each one, although each one is different, has different characteristics, tumbled stones in general will kind of be like a nugget of energy, like I said, a nugget of vibration. So how do I sense? How do we sense, or how do we pick up on the energy that is inherent, or the personality that's inherent, or the information that's inherent in a tumbled stone? There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways that are just completely intuitive. So with this stone, what's my natural reaction to it? It's a bright red orange. So I'm going to automatically make associations, I can't talk, in my mind, like fire, or like earth, or blood. Those kind of like elemental energies is definitely inherent here, because it has this dark inclusions. Kind of makes me feel like soil, or definitely like it has that fire tone to it, the blood and things like that. And yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of like the energy that I get from these type stones. Now, when you read about carnelian, a lot of times, like I've mentioned before or already, it will associate these a lot with the earth element, and a lot with like empowerment and things like that. Now, for me specifically, when I first began working with carnelian, the resonance that I immediately noticed with these stones was ovaries. That was the first thing I thought when I saw these crystals, was ovaries. I associate these a lot as being a feminine power stone, and I have worked with them in relationship to like feminine specific energy a lot, with great success and power. So I'm going to give you some suggestions today about using that energy and working with these stones in that way. So, to me, these stones really carry the energy of, like I said, the ovaries, the uterus, or the womb, and also like the feminine moon blood, our monthly blood. So, I've worked with a couple of my own carnelian stones several times in the past as remedies for things relating to those organs, and the energy typically associated with those organs. So carnelian, it feels very empowering. It feels very grounding and fiery, and because it's so closely associated with the reproductive or the sexual organs, it has that like kundalini, I guess you would say, the grounding or the root chakras, the first two chakras, and it's in that frequency band of sexuality, creativity, life force, lifeblood. So, one idea of something that you can do, that you can use these as for a remedy, you can work with these if your moon is delayed. So, I'm not going to get into any big, like, opinionated political discussion, but a lot of us as women in this society, we don't really have a positive relationship with our moon cycle. And I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a really high percentage of women who are, using like oral contraceptives, whether it's birth control or whatever. So, that being said, a lot of us don't necessarily have the natural strong connection to that moon cycle of ours, like many of our ancestors did. We're missing out. So carnelian can help you stimulate the flow of your moon blood if it's late. And for that treatment, here's the approach I would take. I have a variety of them. If you don't have a variety of them, you can certainly do it with any two of these stones, or you could even pull it off with one. But for some reason, this just really resonated with me and made sense to me. So I'm going to choose two stones, two tumbled carnelians, that are close in size and shape and color, as close as I can. They're not going to be exact. No. I'm just kind of like feeling them out, you know? Getting in touch with them a little bit. Alright, so I feel pretty good about this. These guys. So I just sort of chose two, and as you can see, they're pretty similar in size, pretty similar in shape and color. They don't have to be exact. And as I'm always going to say, like, this is just something that really has been effective for me. It makes a lot of sense to me. And my point of telling you a treatment that I used this approach, I'm just telling you this to show you that you can be creative and to inspire you to follow your intuition. And the remedies that you come up with your gemstones and with, you know, water or different remedies like that might be totally different. So this is just something that worked for me, and it could work for you too. So take these two tumbled carnelians, and what I basically did is just put one in each pocket. And, you know, if, like I said, if your moon is late, and it can stimulate the flow to start, because they resonate with the ovarian frequency on the physical level, as well as probably like the etheric, the astral and the etheric. Anyway, like the first couple layers of energy outside of the physical, maybe. And they can stimulate that flow. And if you can't or don't want to carry them in your pocket, you can also add these to a glass of spring water and leave it maybe overnight, or at least for a few hours. And, you know, later on that day or that night, you can drink that water or drink it in the morning, and that could also be a way that you impart the energy into your body to give your ovaries a signal like, okay, time to go. You know, for women who are trying to regulate their cycle. So that's one remedy that I found really effective. And other ways that make sense to me working with carnelian would be any remedy that I'm making or any formula that I'm putting together that includes the frequency of empowerment, you know, specific to being a woman. That sexual, creative, like, life force kind of thing. As an artist, let's say I need, like, a little bit more inspiration. And I feel that also this stone is very empowering for the womb. So it could be used during the moon cycle in that way as well. If you're feeling disempowered or like really exhausted. And also maybe during birth. You know, the womb is obviously working way overtime during birth and pregnancy. So carnelian could be a really great ally to us then as well. So that's it for today. I just wanted to make a short video and talk a little bit specifically about carnelian and kind of open up the door a little bit to specific ways of like reading the energy of different kinds of stones and communicating with them through our senses and making connections between the elemental, you know, properties, the color, frequency properties of stones, and how that can give us clues and intuitive hints of how that's going to work with like different parts of our body, both physically and on finer energy levels. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful. And I'm going to put those little babies back out in the sun. And the crystal that I introduced you to in the first video, I don't know if you watched it, but it was a danburite, terminated danburite crystal with rainbows in it. So I think what I'm going to do is share with you a ritual that I'm in the process of creating that kind of came to me, kind of a rainbow ritual that I'm going to do with that crystal that's going to empower the rainbow energy in it and really, what's the word? Magnify the crystal, the rainbow energy of that crystal. And then I'm going to do, it's going to be 2 parts, and the second part I'm going to show you, okay, now that we've really enhanced and focused on that rainbow energy and connected with that crystal in that way and connected with rainbow energy in that way, I'm going to show you a way that crystal has showed me you can work with these type stones to do like an energy massage technique, particularly like on the face, and it's really cool. I've been enjoying learning about it. So stay tuned. Noticed some people subscribed after my first video. Like, that's really exciting. That was cool. So thank you if you subscribed. That makes me feel really good, and that we're connecting about crystals and, you know, learning about such a great ally in that way. So I welcome your comments and your feedback and your questions, and thank you so much for joining me. Happy Mother's Day this weekend if you're a mother, and have a really blessed weekend. So thanks for watching.